Now, the question for many companies that are seeing demand surge amid the pandemic is, how sustainable is it? What are you doing to make sure that your games, your products are sticky beyond the pandemic?
Well, during the time that everyone is sheltering in place, our teams were working from home at full capacity, building new content, new modes, and bringing out new features for our fans to be able to engage with and to play while they were sheltering in place and social distancing. You know, honestly, when you're away from family and friends, the next best thing to do is to play a game with them, to connect, to enjoy each other that way. And we saw incredible lifts inside of the engagement curves, as well as also the social features in our games. For example, in one of our games, we saw the amount of chatting go up 400%. So we observed those things, and the teams from home rapidly cranked out new features and techniques to be able to keep that engagement going.
I also want to ask you about your acquisition announced last night, Rollic Games, which is known as a hyper-casual mobile gaming company. I wasn't familiar with it, but it's the idea that games can be played in a minute, and it's an ad-based revenue model. And it seems counterintuitive for a few reasons. One, I thought people were staying home to play games for longer, spend more time on their devices. And two, the advertising business model at a time when marketers are scaling back. What did you see in it?
Actually, we've been watching the hyper-casual category for the last several years, and it's actually the fastest growing category on mobile. It's amongst the largest as well. It's a global audience who wants to be able to jump in and play a game for just a few minutes and pop back out. And with mobile devices, with them being on you at all times, there are those times and places where you just want to pop into a quick game and pop back out. And advertising as the business model allows you to do that in a very instant way. So it's a very seamless and accessible experience for players. Our view is that scale really matters in the mobile ecosystem. And with the addition of Rollic and also our Peak acquisition, Zynga is going to be serving over 165 million people per month. And with that size of market, you know, there's a lot of inventory and opportunities to serve advertising to folks. We haven't seen the same dynamic in terms of some of the other social networks or gaming services. Our advertising business has been good, and we expect that as we end into the second half of the year, we feel very good about our progress there.
Frank, I want to get your thoughts on Apple's App Store, which has taken a lot of heat over the last few weeks, and of course, Tim Cook facing a grilling by Congress. Do you take issue with Apple's commission structure? Some analysts have said that your EBITDA could be lifted substantially if that 30% commission fee was lowered.
Well, I think if you look at the mobile app stores, the total revenue generated on those stores, 72% of it comes from games. So the app economy really is the mobile game economy, and it's a very important part of their businesses, and they're very good partners for us in terms of how we bring games to market and how we develop them. We like to keep our business terms discussions private between the companies, but if there is any shift in the rates there, it certainly would be a tailwind for our company.
So, Frank, it sounds like you're on Apple's side. That's a line we've heard them tout. You think that developers are getting a fair shake here?
I don't think that's what I said. I think what I said is when we talk to them about the business terms that we have, we like to not do that in the press. We like to keep that privately between the companies. I think there's always rooms for innovation, and there's opportunities to see the ecosystem evolve. Over time, Apple has introduced new programs like 15% rates for subscriptions. They've opened up new markets. At the same time, they do receive feedback from developers about things that are working inside their services and things that could improve. So I think it's a healthy relationship of give and take. And over time, things will change and evolve.
Hey, Frank, how suppressed is the ad market right now? We've heard from some very large media players where the effect has been pretty obvious. But I wonder how much confidence do you think ad buyers need to have before they can turn that switch on again?
I think what you saw was the lows were really in that late March, early April time period, and things are starting to slowly come back. We're starting to see a lot more brand advertisers come back into the ecosystem. Obviously, a lot of interactive entertainment companies have increased their spends in this environment, as well as companies like Amazon and Netflix in terms of their services that are very appealing and people want to find in the shelter-in-place environment. I think as things evolve over time, if film starts to have more direct-to-market releases, you'll start to see the entertainment advertising market come back, which is a big component of what our ecosystem is all about. So I think over time, things will improve as we get closer to holiday. But there's a lot of interesting dynamics at play inside the ad market right now with privacy changes, with IDFA coming. So it'll be choppy in the short term, but over the long term, I think for all the headwinds you might see, I think there will be innovative new opportunities to reach players and put the right products and services in front of them.